Good morning, children. We are going to revise natural vegetation. So please be equipped with your textbook, notebook, and pen so that you can make the corrections in case you did not make it when the lesson was taught previously. So the word natural vegetation refers to the plant cover that has not been disturbed over a long time so as to allow the individual species to adjust themselves to the climate and soil conditions. Thus, grasses, shrubs, trees, which grow on their own without any human interference, constitute the natural vegetation of an area. Children, please turn to page 140. We start with introduction. So, we know that the natural vegetation is a very valuable resource and it is a renewable resource. The forests are renewable resources in the sense that if after deforestation, if the plants are planted again, if the trees are planted again, then in that sense they are renewable. But it has to be ensured that afforestation takes place. Otherwise, if afforestation does not happen, then the forests will all dwindle and they will vanish. Now, in the second paragraph on page 140, you will see that they have mentioned about the importance of forests. So, I have written them in bullet points in the slide and I'll explain them. So, the first and foremost importance of natural vegetation is that they help in maintaining ecological balance. So, there exists a delicate balance, and if the forests are cut down, then this ecological balance which is there in the forest ecosystem, that gets disrupted. Then the forests reduce pollution because what they do is that the trees, they take in carbon dioxide and they give out oxygen. So this way, because they take in the carbon dioxide and release oxygen, so in this way they reduce pollution. That is why around most of the industries trees are planted in order to reduce the effect of pollution. So, children, the trees, you know that they utilize carbon dioxide and they release oxygen during photosynthesis. The oxygen released by the trees is used by the animal world. Thus, the trees help in the cycles of oxygen and carbon dioxide in the biosphere. The next is that the trees maintain humidity. So, the trees absorb water from the ground and they release water vapor during transpiration. So this way water vapor gets added into the atmosphere which helps to form clouds and then precipitation which brings water again into the soil, thus completing the water cycle. So the forests help in maintaining humidity through the process of transpiration. Then the natural vegetation of forest, they help in purifying the air. So it's a repetition of point number 2. After this you will see it is written that the trees are a source of timber, fruits, flowers as well as fuel. So wood is used for making furniture. The wood and bamboo pulp, it is used for manufacturing paper and paper boards. And another thing which is of course a disadvantage is that the wood is used indiscriminately as a source of energy for cooking and for providing warmth. So it is used for cooking mainly in even now in some of the tribal areas, in some of the villages. Then forests, apart from timber, they provide essential oils. Bamboos provide a means of livelihood for tribals who make mats, baskets, ropes, etc. by using bamboo. The forests also control the water flow. So the roots of the trees hold the soil together. So in this way the forests prevent soil erosion. And the last but definitely not the least is that the forests provide habitat for the wildlife. So these are the important things about wildlife, about forests. We are still in page 140. So if you see, it's written that according to the State of Forest Report 2013, the total forest cover of the country is 69.09 million hectares, HECTARES, or 22% of the total geographic area of the country. But the National Forest Policy has laid down that the forest cover of India should be 33.3%. Now, the reason why the forest cover is so low in our country is because of the unprecedented growth in the population. Because the population has been growing at a rapid rate, so in order to meet with the demand for food, in order to make way for houses, so a lot of forests are being cleared to meet with the needs of the people for cultivation, for construction, for industrialization. So, as such, only 21.02% of the total geographic area is under forest cover, and this is much below what has been laid down by the National Forest Policy. So, the reason why the forest cover in India has come down is because of the rapid rate of deforestation. Now, because of deforestation, it has resulted in extermination of wildlife in our country, meaning many of the animals have gone extinct. Some of them are on the verge of extinction. India has a variety of forests and natural vegetation because of the differences in climatic conditions, because of the differences in soil, because of the relief features. So, as we proceed in the chapter, you all also must have studied that the vegetation in different parts of the country is different. So, there's a close relationship between the natural vegetation of an area and the climatic conditions. So, uh, the type of vegetation corresponds to the amount of rainfall received. For example, in those areas where there's heavy rainfall, we find dense vegetation. In those areas where the rainfall is scanty, over there we find scrub vegetation. So, there are two factors on the basis of which the natural vegetation and its distribution depends. First is the variation in the amount of rainfall, and the second is on the basis of variation in relief. So we'll study about them in detail. So children, we are still on page 140, and now we are going to study about the main types of natural vegetation. Point number 3, if you see on page 140. So, the natural vegetation of India can be classified into the following categories, and you must make, in case you did not do the corrections in the beginning, then you must do it now. So, forests based on variation of rainfall. So, the first is the tropical evergreen forests. They are found in those areas where the rainfall is more than 200 centimeters. The deciduous monsoon forests, they are found in those areas where the rainfall varies between 100 to 200 centimeters. Please write that down in your books. Then the next vegetation is desert and semi-desert vegetation. So as the name implies, deserts are those areas which receive very less rainfall. So the annual rainfall is less than 25 centimeters. So we find desert and semi-desert vegetation in those areas where the rainfall is less than 25 centimeters. The fourth type of vegetation is the thorn and the scrub forest, where the rainfall varies between 25 to 100 centimeters. The next type of vegetation is on the basis of relief. So the mountain forests, which are found in the mountainous areas, and as the height goes on increasing, the vegetation also goes on changing. We'll study about that. The mangrove or the tidal or the littoral forests, these are found especially in the deltaic regions. So we'll study about each of these forests in detail, and today we'll study mainly about the tropical evergreen forest. So the first type of vegetation that we are going to study today is on the basis of rainfall, the tropical evergreen forests. So they are found in those areas where the temperature ranges between 25 to 27 degrees centigrade. They are found in those areas where the rainfall is more than 200 centimeters. So in this slide you will see I have highlighted, as these forests are found in the areas of heavy rainfall, they are also known as rainforests. So this is a give reason, meaning if you get a question why are they found, why are these forests referred to as rainforests, so you'll say because they are found in areas of heavy rainfall where the rainfall is more than 200 centimeters, the tropical rainforests are called rainforests. Now let us see the distribution of these forests or the areas where these forests are found. So the first and the most important thing which you must know, and sometimes you get a question also, that name the forest which is found on the windward side of Western Ghats. So on the windward side of Western Ghats we find tropical evergreen forest. Alright, so you can see I have highlighted that. So these forests are found on the western parts of the Western Ghats or the windward side of Western Ghats or Western Maharashtra. Now if you correlate it with the chapter of climate that we had done, so you must have studied that the Arabian Sea branch, when it strikes the Western Ghats, it is forced to rise, and as it rises, it cools and it causes heavy rainfall on the windward side of the Western Ghats. So, in these areas, we find tropical evergreen forests. The next area is Western Karnataka. So, children, please keep on doing this correction. See, on page 142, under areas, where it's written parts of Maharashtra, you will write Western Maharashtra. Then you will write Western Karnataka. It's just written Karnataka. Make it Western Karnataka. Then Kerala. Then they are found in the eastern Himalayas, the Terai region, and northeast India, that is Lushai, Khasi, Jaintia and Garo hills, which are also known as Assam hills. Now you can add it over here that in your books itself you can add it, that these forests are found in the states of Mizoram, Tripura, Manipur, Nagaland, Assam and Meghalaya, and they are also found in Andaman and Nicobar Islands. So these forests are generally found on the altitude ranging from 500 to 1500 meters on the windward or western side of Western Ghats. Now children, we are on the same page, page number 142. So now we will do the characteristics. In your textbook, the first point which is given, as they are found in areas of heavy forest, they are known as rainforest. This is not a characteristic. In the previous slide itself, I had told you that it is a give reason question. So you will not include it in the characteristics. Now, the second point will become your first point. The thick ground cover of forest is characterized by climbers and epiphytes. Bamboo and ferns are also common. The second point, because the trees do not shed their leaves at the same time, so they remain evergreen and they are called tropical evergreen forests. Then the third point, I have added this. The trees occur in mixed stands, meaning they contain many varieties of trees. Stands, pure stands means when the trees of the same species grow together, and mixed stands means when trees of different species grow together. That is called mixed stands. So that is why exploitation of these forests is very difficult, because the trees are found in mixed stands. So please add point number 3, 4 and 5 in your textbook. Point number 4, the trees reach great heights of more than 60 meters. In order to obtain a lot of sunlight, the trees attain great height. The fifth and the last point is at the top the trees form a dense canopy which do not allow enough sunlight to reach the ground. So these are the important characteristics of tropical evergreen forest. So, after we have done the characteristics, you will see that in your textbook on page 142 itself, after the third point, they have given, there are two lines which are written. Evergreen forests have not been properly exploited due to dense undergrowth and lack of transport facility. So, this is a very important give reason question. Underline it and you will add one more point. So, though the tropical evergreen forests produce various plant species of high economic value, the timber which is produced is hard, durable and fine-grained. But due to tangled mass of canes, palms, bamboos, because of dense undergrowth, the lack of transport facilities, and also because the trees grow in mixed stands, these forests have not been fully exploited. So please add the third point in your textbook. The evergreen forests have not been properly exploited due to number 1, dense undergrowth, number 2, lack of transport facilities, and third point you will add, the trees grow in mixed stands. So these are the three reasons as to why these forests have not been fully exploited, have not been properly exploited. Now let us see the important species of trees which are found here. So the first and the most important one is the rosewood tree. These are hard, fine-grained and durable. Please learn their characteristics and their uses. And they are used for making expensive furniture. They are found in parts of Kerala, Tamil Nadu and Karnataka. Then we have shisham. It is also a hardwood and it is used for making expensive furniture. The third tree is important tree of this area is gurjan. Gurjan is used for house building, for railway sleepers and furniture. So the other species which are found over here are toon, jamun, canes. So you can see the picture of these three important trees. Learn their characteristics and learn their uses. It is important.